Welcome everyone to this game again. Anyone that has seen my previous videos on the channel, you may have noticed I did a LP of this last year, early February 2015 is actually when I started. Now, I've done this game a few times around various channels, and I said, screw it, you know, maybe I can make this one better. We'll just have to see. I'm going to keep the original one up on the channel, at least for a period of time. I may take it off, I may not. We'll just have to see. So this game, as you saw, was made by Atari. It's a pure RTS game. Not necessarily a slow one. It can take some time to beat maps, but, you know, half hour to an hour is about usual, which on some RTSs, that's how you get through about 5%. But regardless, you do have a tutorial, which I'm not going to show off. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of go through the game and explain things as time goes on. Now, you have an Allied campaign, you have an Axis campaign. The Axis campaign, pretty much everything after Mission 8, well, technically pretty much all of this, is stuff that didn't happen in reality. It's all kind of based on really phony alternate history situations, and this is considered the harder of the two campaigns, which I guess I agree with. It's hard for me to tell because I've been playing this game off and on for years. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the Allied campaign. I'll be going through all the missions. As time goes on, I will start cutting out some of it. But let's just go ahead and get started, and yeah. So, I'll be quiet for the cinematic, and I'll speak with you in a moment.
Good afternoon, chaps. This is no time for chit-chat, so listen carefully. Our first efforts at dislodging Rommel and his Africa Corps have failed. He's mined the whole desert. Nevertheless, the order to push him away from Alamein comes from the very top, so we're to see that it's done, no matter the cost. Good luck.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the stuff in here really quick, and wow, I am so used to... I've been playing so many other strategy games, this is really weird to me. But anyway, these supply depot trucks, now I do have a mod on that I actually can't get rid of unless I want to get rid of the base game, which I don't want to. They will end up giving you a variety of supplies. When it shows you what they'll unpack, it tells you right there. In the base game, they will only give you ammo, and you have your ammo here and your oil here. They don't give you any additional gold. I know it says money, but I mean, it's gold. Come on, we know it's gold. Now, with some buildings, such as your HQs, they have their own defensive units, essentially. They can attack enemy units, and they're okay. Don't really do a whole lot of damage though. So the unit you have here, mechanized infantry, I don't really use them a whole lot, just because having a mixture is not really that great. You have 3 combat formations, and it shows you what they end up doing here. Just a side note, I also never use key bindings. This column thing is essentially what your run thing is, because, you know, if you try to tell them to move outside of combat, they won't. I'm just going to go ahead and unpause it really quick. You get moved over here, and on almost every map, if not every map, you always have you have one primary objective, and then you also have a secondary one. And in this case, you have a third one. You don't have to go after this. You can if you want, but it really doesn't matter whatsoever. There's a unit here, and you can tell by the flags on the unit what type of unit they are. These here, these are anti-tank. Good against vehicles, good against tanks, and yeah, that's pretty much it. They also, you can also go and see the in and outs of the unit itself. As you can tell, that they have an infantry, machine gun, and they're anti-tank. As you can see, I lost one of my vehicles already, one of my half trucks. Going from Company Heroes 2 to this is just weird. You just feel strange. That's something I'll probably never do in LPN, mainly because Seika would, you know, copyright strike my ass. But if you go to your core HQ, you have the ability to summon other buildings, which I will go ahead and do really quick. Besides that, and you also have the ability to improve your, you know, technology, I guess you can say, which will give you various bonuses. Now, depending on the map, these bonuses will end up changing, and I believe that outside the mod, you also don't get as many as you would get with this. I could be wrong, though. It's been so long to play, I don't remember. I just don't have the disc to reinstall. But improved machine guns are probably one of the best ones that you want to get. Same with the semi-auto rifle, just because it gives a very good attack bonus to both unit types. Now in this game, any unit can cause damage to any other unit, just again, some are more damage resistant to like small arms and that sort of thing than otherwise. Now if I was to base this unit here in the city, they would also get various modifiers. You can see the modifiers on the top here. See, as they're in the city, my vehicles have a little bit more vulnerability, while my infantry get a bonus to shell fire and a regular defensive bonus, which again kind of makes sense. Now this fog of war here, the best unit to use on that would be recon infantry. They have a much bigger sight radius. I believe it's like 12 hexes. Like if you were to divide like each, say like square, say that this is kind of like a square, you get an additional 12 compared to a regular unit, as I will go ahead and show.
Consider it done. Consider it done.
And all units, they will end up being in an aggressive format. Again, not really, it just doesn't work. And again, they have their improved machine guns, and they have, you know, a whole bunch of bigger stuff that makes them all awesome and stuff. I never use recon just because, you know, they kind of suck. But anyway, look at that little camel there. They're just running around. They're kind of derpy, but whatever. Anyway, you can build more units however you want. I always go with a mix, and I have like all my units separated. Some people like to do that, some don't. It's just kind of how I prefer it. Oh, I don't have enough money. It's just kind of how I myself prefer it. You have the option to put units into a quick bar, which is very nice. Oh my god, it's so nice whenever you have all your units, you know, coaguled together, because you can only have 6 selected at the same time, and it's just annoying. That's all you have to say, is that it's annoying. Now going back in here, in these brigade trucks, these trucks on the second row, they will give you various other ability to build units, to get more upgrade stuff, which you can do on this map. I just choose not to. Same as you can get tanks on this map, but it's really not needed. You have another HQ that you'll get a little bit later on, which is an airborne one. You will get a artillery brigade stuff, but since we don't have any artillery units, we can't use it. And you'll also get an airfield. Now, airfields, whenever we get to airfields, I'll actually go ahead and explain them. But there's something that would be extremely draining to try to have like a whole bunch of, because they give you a -30 to all your stats, and with this mod they give you +30, or it was something like that. I could be completely wrong. You know, my memory's a little bit shoddy, but regardless. And I will say that this, one of the great features of this RTS is that you can speed up the time. There are so many times in so many games where you're just like, can this go any slower? And yeah, you can even go really slow. I don't know why you'd want to. You just can, though. Now, this artillery battery here, they're really not great on their own. It's best to have them all kind of, you know, supporting each other. Just because they're slow firing, they do a good amount of damage, but whenever you have just, you know, one unit firing at, especially the group, it's going to get destroyed. Now, as you can see here, each unit has their own individual health, and this big bar here is the leader of that group. Now, if the leader dies, I'm not sure if they get like a combat penalty or if they have a morale penalty or what it is. I know that in some maps it's a little bit more important. It may also be where they're just a little bit more powerful than the regular units, but again, I could be wrong. Now, getting them back within this green line will end up giving them health back. They have to be attached to a HQ, though, which you'll see by this orange and yellow-ish like line figure in this one with the wing. That looks more like something that you'd see in like Nepal or something, honestly. But if they're not attached to an HQ, then they will not gain any health back. You can detach and reattach them, but you have to have various slots within your actual HQ, which are dictated here, which is why having multiples of the same HQ can be useful sometimes.
Come to attention, lads.
Now I'm going to go ahead and send them back out. And whenever you end up spotting something, actually no, I'll mention that later, just because it's not going to be pertinent now. But if you look over here on the side, you'll see that you have a number of special things that you can do. This corpse reorganization means that you can only deploy a new HQ truck if your main one is destroyed and you have no way of getting another one. If that happens, you're likely going to have lost the battle anyway. This one's a simple fog of war, which I don't really use just because it's not that useful. You don't normally need to know all that much. And on the maps where you kind of do need it, you generally don't have it. This one here, and I should also mention that these are what you would normally get just based on the map. They change all throughout. This Saboteur thing sucks. That's all I have to say, is that it doesn't do a goddamn thing. It's really only useful for going after like areas that have no defense. Like if I was to try to go after them and say plant here at the HQ, it would die before it was able to do anything. Or, you know, it gets attacked by units, and it's just kind of stupid. So, yeah. And you also have a carpet bombing, which I think that in the base non mod thing, you won't have this. Again, not really useful. And if you look further up here, you have your experience here. Now, experience is only dictated for the specific map in question. Experience doesn't like transfer over into the next map, because there's really not any battles that have the, you know, that are in the same area or anything. And any units that they spawn, that you spawn, they can gain experience, you can see right here. And the experience gives them various modifiers like additional health, additional morale, attack power and stuff, which is nice for the individual map, but they won't be transferred over to any other one. And you gain experience. Experience does trickle up slowly as time goes on. You get 1 per second. or you get it by fighting. I believe also by destroying buildings, even though I'm not sure about the other about that last one. As you can see, we have an ally here, and this team commands thing that's really only in like online PvP, because you can do whatever the fuck you want, dude. It's not going to tell you a goddamn thing, though. It won't do what you tell it to do, which, what a shock. That's normally the case. Now, I could go ahead and, like, actually, you know, do what I'm quote-unquote supposed to do. I'm just going to go ahead after the main base. This is a map that doesn't take very long, and I kind of regret having this mic because the fan's going to get picked up, and it's super fucking hot in here because it's like 90 bajillion degrees outside. Thankfully, I don't have to work in it today. That's all I have to say is thankfully I don't have to work in it. And this may or may not actually turn into another series. I'm undecided on that front. I'm working on a few non-game stuff that's taking up the majority of my time, and I really don't have a great opportunity to record anymore. I have to wait for particular people to be out of the house, which is never happens. There's just a giant security door, you know, right outside where the room is, and you hear that, like, you can hear, you know, goddamn anything with this mic being picked up. It's much better than my other one, I'll have to say that, especially because it kind of, you know, exploded. I mean, not literally. If it really did explode, I'd go, what the fuck? But, no. It's just not that great. It was a really cheap mic, and I could buy it, like, 2.5 of those for my Pokeball here, but, yeah, it's fine. And no, I'm not going to do any Pokemon content, I swear. I just make that joke all the time because it looks like goddamn Pokeball. I know I'm not really explaining a whole lot right now, but there's not really a whole lot to explain. I guess I'll go into a little bit more detail, even though it's not going to matter right now. Now, when you go over something, it'll show you the efficiency. Now, the efficiency of that is... I don't even know. I really don't know what it does. My guess is that it has... Efficiency is based on various, like, combat modifiers, and your unit will do a little bit better if it has a higher efficiency, which makes sense. The plus, you know, all this stuff is based on efficiency, so if I was to throw them into a column form, their efficiency goes down to 50 compared to the 100 that it has right now. And you see this little gray line right here. That is the morale as to which the unit will end up retreating, and you will not have control over it for a short period of time. Now, that unit keeps on keeps losing morale, and then it will end up, well, it'll end up completely routing. And if it gets down to 0, then it will just stand there and fight. And it's like, okay, I mean, you can do that. I don't know why you'd want to. You're so scared you're going, fuck this, I'm just going to kill the assholes. And then, you know, they're going to get swarmed. One thing to note is that if you have your units attack a enemy and the enemy ends up running away, they will follow that unit. Which I'm not sure how common that is in RTSs, but it's something that if you don't pay attention to, that your units that follow are going to die, pretty much. Oh, this guy actually did level. I can show you it now.
Come to attention, lads.
Now, you see this guy, his morale is now 97 compared to 87.
Ready, sir.
And what the experience does, you can go up 3 levels only, and it maxes out after the 3rd one. And I think it pretty much just triples these modifiers at the fullest level. I believe there are also maybe a 3rd one for like entrenchment bonuses, which... entrenchment bonuses, you can only do it on various terrains. I think it's most of them, though. But like if you're on a slope or a hill, it can't do it, or something like that. I don't specifically know. I haven't played this game at all since I ended up recording it, because I was just like, I'm fucking done. I don't want to do it no more. I'm just sick and tired of it. Oh my, yeah, carpet bomb methane lit up. Fantastic. Now, again, yeah, I could go to this oil field. I don't goddamn need it, though. I like how just one random-ass oil field in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. That's all it is. That's all that Italy had in Libya, even though I don't think they produced much, if any, oil in Libya during World War II. That one I could be wrong on. But I kind of get the feeling that it didn't really do that. Ah, God. My brain's really only on Siberia, because I know in Siberia it wasn't until, you know, significantly later in, like, the 60s and stuff that oil was able to be drilled. Oh my God, you have a medium tank. I'm going to go ahead and use this carpet bombing and just kind of deal with you. I forgot that it does damage to your own units. Whoops-a-daisy. Bravely run away. Yeah, that's another thing I always forgot about. Gotta be careful how you use that carpet bombing, otherwise your units are going to be destroyed. Just absolutely and totally destroyed. Gonna stop you there. Now, I guess I may as well say it now. Now, if you have a unit that does, like, artillery damage, where it has artillery pieces attached to it, that doesn't harm your units, except for a mod that I ended up doing a review on in my previous series, which it was, like, the only mod that actually worked and did stuff. This one, I don't know what it is. I can try to search again, but I haven't been able to find anything. I can't even look in the files, because there's, you know, like, no difference. Yeah, that was like the only one, and that's just bad. You have a unit right by a hill, and you don't realize it, and they're all gone, all in one strike. Oh yeah, there's also a little timer up here, which, yeah, you can add that. You have various options. You can actually add stuff, which is kind of nice. Is it, like, useful in any sort of way? No, not really. And I'm just gonna have these units attack here. Now, if you want all your units to focus on something, you tell them to run to like a building, and they'll all go to that target. And there you go. Since the HQ is done, that was the end of the mission. You can keep playing, and you can end whenever you want, but there's really no point, so I'm just going to go ahead and end the mission. As long as you get your primary objectives, the secondary objectives don't matter in the grand scheme of anything, but, again, as time goes on, I can go into a little bit more detail. So that was it for part 1. I'll catch you back in a little bit for part 2, so I'll catch you then.